Now let's bring in President of Judicial, Washington, author of A Republic Under Assault, Tom Fitton. Tom, I've been on a couple of Twitter spaces with you, and we're talking about Sam Bankman. In fact, you and I were on one with Sam himself literally hours before he was arrested, and I still stand by one of the comments he made in that Twitter spaces that got him arrested. And he was talking about how someone asked him, but Sam, did you collateralize the money that you were borrowing? He said, nah, it was a ledger entry. And then he was asked, how long did you know? And he said, months. And if you remember, Tom, he tried to walk that back. You remember that little back and forth?
Well, I've seen about that. I don't remember that specifically. You pay more attention than I do. I should have to pay more attention to these spaces when I'm on. But you raised the political component of this. And what's really interesting about his funding is much of it went to a super PAC, right? So the politicians had some plausible deniability in the sense that not materially a lot of money went to the campaign operations or political parties. And so these super PACs, they're essentially corporate fronts through which to support political activity. But I tell you, Eric, when these high-powered political consultants and PAC operators get tens of millions of dollars from a news source, it would seem to me, based on my experiences, you check out the source to make sure that it's not coming from somewhere shady or abroad, most typically. And I don't understand
Tom,
how
but let me ask you this. Allow me to ask you this. So if SBF donates to a super PAC that turns around and donates to Maxine Waters, who's chair of the Financial Services Committee, about to question SBF, isn't that a conflict of interest? Can't we just say she should recuse herself for conflict of interest?
Well, that's the question. And, the judges, those who judge the conflict of interest usually are Maxine Waters. They get to decide whether they participate or not, and the voters hold them accountable depending on whether they're doing something that they are not supposed to be doing based on any sensible analysis of ethics. But I think the bigger point is why we didn't hear from him at a congressional hearing, and why the DOJ, the Biden DOJ, felt the need all of a sudden. It wasn't like this was new information to arrest him on the eve of the hearing. And because some of these questions, I think, would have been answered. What was he expecting in return for these donations? Well, you were funding Republicans, you say secretly. Tell us more about that. Both parties have some questions to answer for. And now they won't have to, thanks to the intervention of the Biden Justice Department.
So let me ask you that. So it was very odd that he was about to testify in front of Congress, which would have opened him up to a lot of evidence gathering by the prosecution. We couldn't have popped him before the Bahamian government could. Is that just not? Wouldn't have been legal?
It's been at least a month to 6 weeks since the scandal's broken, and they have to wait to arrest him a minute before the hearing, practically speaking. Those are the sorts of questions I think Congress should have for the Justice Department. Why did you wait to take our witness from us? And, Maxine Waters should be asking this as well. As I said, there's this plausible deniability a lot of the Democrats have. But you're highlighting some other issues here, is that there are these outside groups that have formed while the left has said they don't like, political donations, but they benefit from them to the tunes of tens of millions of dollars with little to no accountability for how the money's spent or who's spending it. $35 million given to a super PAC. I don't know the person running that super PAC. I know Ronna McDaniel. I know who runs the DNC. Those are the party operatives that I think ought to be, to the degree there's money being spent in politics, we need to focus more on allowing donations to our political system in a more forthright way than playing these shell games with the monies we're seeing now, all under the guise of political reform.
So what? Yeah, let's talk a little about that. What kind of, the guys donated $40+ million, mostly to Democrats. Is there no election election fraud committees that are looking into, as you point out, some new donor ponying up $40 million, becoming the second largest political donor in the election cycle? No one wants to check where he got the funds?
I would think there are. I mean, I would hope if I were running a super PAC and I received $40 million, tens of millions of dollars from a donor who hasn't donated before, you immediately start trying to figure out where the money's coming from, because there are potential liabilities you have if you accept money from improper sources. And maybe that's why he did it, because maybe the political parties would have been a bit more careful if he was throwing that sort of money directly at them. I don't know.
So look, if you purchase a stolen car from someone and the police figure it out, you have to return the stolen car. Ignorance of the whereabouts of the car is not a defense. In this case, can the creditors claw back some of the money from these super PACs that SBF donated to them?
You know, that's for the lawyers to figure out. I mean, just imagine you're the beneficiary of the spending of this super PAC, right? So, okay, well, the super PAC spent money advertising in support of me. They didn't give it to me directly. You know, I didn't get money. Where's the super PAC going to get the money from to give back to Fried? It's pretty darn complicated, which is why this corruption should have been picked up more quickly. You know, they've been harassing Elon Musk. You know, we all know where the Biden Justice Department's focus has been, going after the billionaires and, you know, pretending to be concerned about corporate greed and profits. And yet you've got this kind of politically connected scandal right under their noses. It looked like it had all the hallmarks of a Ponzi scheme. And now all that money is evaporated. Yeah. So in many ways,
the guy who they appointed.
In some ways, we're just talking hypotheticals, because I don't see where this money is going to be obtained. Well, you know, how anyone.
We just showed a picture. We just showed a picture of the court-appointed CEO, Mr. Ray, who did in fact call it pure and simply embezzlement. And I got to say, Maxine, that guy right there, Maxine Waters is chairing the committee that's supposed to protect against the things that SBF did, against embezzlement, against fraud. And that is exactly what he's been accused of. And then she's blowing, folks, do it, control room, she's blowing kisses to this guy as he leaves her chamber from a prior testimony. Look at that. That's the guardian of your financial services, House Financial Services chair right there, guardian of your financial services world right there, blowing kisses to an accused criminal. Tom Fitton, you know, always good having you on, my friend.